good afternoon. How are we doing? Welcome to National University Week, brought to you by CareerMap Media Group. For those of you who haven't seen me just yet, my name is Heather. I'm from CareerMap. I'm one of the hosts for today. And for this morning's session, I'm joined by the team from the University of Salford. So they are here to tell you all about studying and life at Salford, and they'll be talking through some of the courses that are on offer as well. Before I hand over to the team, just a bit of housekeeping. The session is being recorded. It will be emailed to you towards the end of the week. So don't worry about missing out on anything. However, if there's something that you need to know now, just take a screenshot. That would be my word of advice. Questions, please ask questions. There is a chat box in the right hand side of your page on your screen. Please ask any questions as we go through the session, and we will collate them all and do a Q&A piece between the team and I, answering all of those for you. So without any further ado, I will hand over to the team and I will see you for the Q&A.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ben. I'm here from the outbound recruitment team here at the University of Salford, and I'm going to start the webinar just giving you a little bit of an overview about what the university has to offer, looking at some of the facilities we have before we head on in about 10 minutes to talk about the more academic side of programs. As was said before, if you do have any questions at any point, please feel free to ask. We'll be here till 2 o'clock and we'll be more than happy to answer them for you. So in my overview, we're going to be looking at who we are as a university, the type of programs that we offer, where we're based in the country, the areas that you can study, a little bit about the accommodation for those of you who are interested in living on campus, and we are a campus university, but we'll go into that in more detail in a moment. And then we're going to touch briefly on student support. Obviously, we only have 10 minutes for this section, so it will be more of an overview rather than a full deep dive. Again, if you have any questions on the course that you're interested in or an element of our student support, please feel free to ask and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Okay, so who we are. As was mentioned before, we are the University of Salford, based in Greater Manchester. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, Salford and Manchester are twin cities based in the northwest of England, and Greater Manchester has one of the highest student densities in the country. Around 100,000 students are present at 4 universities and another subsidiary colleges, but out of the institutions in the Greater Manchester area, we are the only campus university. So the majority of the facilities are based on 2 adjoining campuses, with some additional media elements based out of MediaCity, but I'm sure MediaCity will be touched on a lot further in the academic side of the presentation. So we are, as I mentioned, based in the northwest of England, really accessible institution. We're about 15 to 20 minute walk away from the Manchester city centre itself, if anyone does know the area well. And we are really accessible by rail, plane, bus and car. We do have a train station on campus, and we are a 50-minute train ride from Liverpool. We're about just under 2 hours away from London, and we have a really good airport links to both Liverpool Airport, but mostly to Manchester International Airport as well. So if you are thinking of joining us from overseas, there are plenty of opportunities to come and see us and see what the University of Salford is about. Manchester itself is extremely well connected to the rest of the country. So getting out and about, either to get to the institution itself or to get back to wherever you're based in the country is really easy to do. Okay, so here's a little bit more information about where we are based and where our facilities are. So as I mentioned, there is an on-site train station, which takes 5 minutes to get into the city centre and does go direct to Manchester Airport. So if you are looking to fly back home, it's really easy to do so. It's a 15 to 20 minute walk. It's a 10-minute bus ride. We are part of the Lime scooter scheme as well. So if you enjoy scooting around the city centre, you've got plenty of opportunity to do so here as well. Manchester's a flat city, so there's not many hills in the city centre itself. So for those of you who enjoy walking and cycling, it's a great place to be. We are a campus-based university, with I mentioned as the 3 sites. The accommodation is on the Peel Park campus with some in a adjoining area. So really easy to access for everybody. We'll go through the accommodation in more detail towards the end of my presentation slot. The MediaCity campus is about 1.5 miles away, maybe 1.2 miles. So walkable if you wish, but we have a arrangement with Manchester City Council where our students can get on the 50 bus for free if they show their student card. So don't have to worry about getting back and forth to lectures, getting back and forth to your facilities. Everything's within easy reach. So here's a good view of the campus itself. We are an ever-expanding campus. As you can see, we have a little white space marked out for our new science building, which has just been open for 12 months now. We are based around one of the first green spaces that was accessible to the public anywhere in the country, and that is still the heart of our Peel Park campus today. We've got a couple of thousand accommodation places available for first-year students at the bottom end at Peel Park Quarter, and we do have accommodation available for postgraduate and second and third-year students in our John Lester and Eddie Coleman facilities. Everything that you need is on this site. So you are right next to the Students' Union, which includes the kitchen and bar with atmosphere, the sports centre. We're right next to the Clifford Whitworth Library as well, which is our main on-site library facility, which is open about 360 days a year. There was a couple of days over the Christmas period that it will be shut, but otherwise it's a 24-hour facility. So it gives you plenty of opportunities to study, whether you live on site or not. We are always expanding our facilities. As I say, we've got a new science building. We've built a new energy house on our Frederick Road campus, which you can see is just on the other side of railway tracks on the image at the moment. So those are more of the health facilities at Frederick Road. So you have Mary Seacole, Brian Blatchford and Allerton, which host all of our social science, our policing courses, our courses around allied health professions, and our courses on nursing, midwifery and physiotherapy and sport rehabilitation. Again, we can go into a lot more detail in the type of programs we have. So if you're looking for any subject, please let us know in the chat. And you can see we've got some questions coming in to answer later already, which is fantastic. As I mentioned, we also have the site at MediaCity, but I know the academics are going to touch on that a little more in a moment. So as I mentioned, we are a vocational institution. We are extremely academically orientated, but we want to ensure that you get the specialisms that you are able to access and that you're able to get a lot of work experience and practical opportunities to go alongside your academic learning. The 4 areas that we mainly focus on are these for business school, with specialisation in business management, marketing, accounting, finance and law. We also have extremely specialised subjects in things like supply chain management, human resources, esports. A number of different programs that you can do based in and around the management school. One of our biggest pulls is definitely the School of Arts, Media and Creative Technology. We focus on a huge range of subject areas based, as I said, both at the specifically built facilities at Peel Park and the new Adelphi building, and then at our MediaCity campus as well, where we share space with ITV. We're round the corner from the BBC and is one of the biggest media hubs in Europe. Specializations include areas around film production, TV and radio, creative computing and digital suites. Again, we're going to touch on that a little bit more today. Journalism, which is the BCJ accredited programs. We do areas around fashion, costume design, art design, graphic design. Again, we have a huge range of programs. If you're looking for anything in particular, please let me know. The School of Health and Society is also extremely popular with our students. So if you are looking to go into a course with the NHS, we have a huge range of pre-registration programs. We also have a huge amount of social sciences in areas around psychology, sociology, criminology and policing. And the last school that we have is the School of Science, Engineering and Environment, with specialisation in human and natural sciences, engineering, geography, and a number of other subject areas, all of which again have a huge amount of practical application. So as I mentioned before, we do have some excellent accommodation on campus. It's normally top 5 in Student Hut. So if you are looking for some really decent accommodation inside a city centre, but on a campus as well. We do have that covered. This is a standard room in our Peel Park Quarter that you can see in the main picture here. They all have ensuite bathrooms, all have 3/4 beds, so there's no single beds in Peel Park. We have large desk space, decent storage area. As I mentioned, your own shower and toilet area. But then you also have a shared kitchen and living space with between 4 and 10 other students. And it's very similar in our John Lester Eddie Coleman Court, which is also available for second-year students and postgraduate students. They do have shared bathrooms. That's the only real difference. But again, they also have the shared kitchen area, and we are able to offer free parking for students living in that residence area. There's a number of different amenities that come standard with the accommodation package, areas around free gym, free social areas. There's usually a library area in the and study area in the accommodation block as well. And our events team put on a load of different activities for students inside the accommodation as well. We do have a QR code on screen, so if you want to find out a little more, please feel free to scan away. But I say, the good part about Salford, it's not just built with residential students in mind, apologies. We are extremely thorough in ensuring that our commuting students have places on campus that are welcoming to them as well. Obviously, as a commuting student, you gain access to exactly the same facilities as residential students. The only difference is you don't have a bedroom to go back to or a flat to go back to in between lectures. So to combat that, we have built areas known as commuting hubs on campus. These are specifically designed to ensure that if you do bring lunch with you, if you want to get a brew in between lectures, you don't have to just go to the library, to a cafe or to a shared space. You've got something designed for you to ensure that you've got multiple places that you can access, that you can relax in between lectures, chat with your friends. And you'll find that we do have a number of commuting students on campus. We have a number of mature students and a huge range of international students as well. I believe we have applications from over 120 countries. We also have around 30% of our undergraduate cohort is classed as a mature student. So anyone over the age of 21 for undergraduate study is classed as mature. So no matter what your situation at the moment, you'll find people in the same boat as you at Salford, and you'll find a lot of support to be able to ensure that you make the most of your time with us. Which moves us nicely onto our Ask Us team, which is our main support network here on campus. Now, Ask Us is a really wide area. It offers a huge amount of support in areas around financial support, advice on jobs, if you come to us with a disability or you need a little bit of extra support while you're studying with us. We are big in ensuring that everyone is identified and everyone is welcome on campus. So things like the LGBTQIA+ society has a big presence with the Ask Us team as well. If you are joining us as an international student and you need advice on immigration and visas, they're able to talk to you as well. And they have a really excellent wellbeing and counselling service on campus as well. So if you are struggling at any point, just do what it says on the tin. Come and ask us and we'll ensure that you get the help that you need. As I say, that was a whistle-stop tour of what we have here at Salford. Again, I'm going to be here till 2 o'clock, so if you do have any questions, I can start answering them in the chat, but I'll also be back on microphone in about 20-30 minutes time to be able to answer any questions you have. Thanks very much, and I'll pass over to my colleagues now.
Thanks, Ben. Hello, everybody. My name is Luke Harrison, and I'm a senior lecturer in the School of Arts, Media and Creative Technology. And this is my colleague, Helen.
Yes, my name is Helen Keegan. I'm also a senior lecturer, but I'm in science, engineering and the environment.
As Ben mentioned before, we have 4 schools at the university, and obviously 2 of us are represented here. My specialism is very much around arts, media, creative tech, but I'm an interesting individual, and I also have studied in the science and engineering area as well. So I kind of work in the crossover of technology. What we're here to talk to you about today is our undergraduate offering, but we also want to present you something that's a little bit new to the sector that may be of interest to you. Here at Salford, we're very keen on learning by doing. And we are starting some new programs which are 2 years in length and aren't a full degree, but they're a really good way to get access to higher education without necessarily committing to a full 3 years of study. So these are called diplomas of higher education, and they are the equivalent of the first 2 years of university study, and they're also part of something called the Greater Manchester Institute of Technology, and we cover lots and lots of programs. To give you an idea of why we're talking about this is, what if you're the kind of learner who knows that you want to be in higher education, but you also know that you learn best by doing. This is, lots of people do this. And the prospect of 3 years of study at a university might be a little too much for you. Well, these courses might also be an option. Now, we do, of course, offer a plethora of 3-year undergraduate courses, and they're all really, really good and covering many, many subject areas. And we will answer all questions relating to those as well, because that's the main field we work in. But as I say, we're here to talk about some of these different types of courses as well. So why might these be attractive to you? So they're not. They are skills based, and they're what's termed as demand-led education. So when we designed these courses, we've gone out to our local employers in the region, and we've said, what skills are needed in the region. And so we bring them in, and we have a really good discussion with them, and we design courses around what they need. So in 2 years' time, you'll be ready, and you have the skills which you're able to take into an employer in the region or across the UK, and say that these are the skills that you've got. They still allow you to top up to a full degree when you've completed your 2 years. You would basically apply for that. They'll give you a flexibility of learning, which ultimately means after 2 years it's less debt. Then, as I say, we've worked with industry to ensure that the skills needed. And we also focus the timetable to suit those who need to work as well. So what you sometimes find with the traditional degree is that you might be in on a Monday for 3 hours, then not in on a Tuesday, then you might be in for an hour in the morning on a Wednesday, and then you might, if your society's Wednesday afternoon, and so on. It's kind of scattered about. With a lot of these programs, what we do is we say, you're in university on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and that's when all your classes are. This means that if you do have to work, as many students do now, or if you're in work already and want to come and upskill and reskill, it gives you that flexibility to do so. You still are expected to study as much as a normal student would. You still have access to all of our facilities, but we give you that time to use those facilities on your terms outside of your classes as well. Helen, I don't know if you wanted to say anything about that.
No, I'm fine. Yeah, carry on to the next.
Yeah, great.
I want to get into programs.
Exactly, yeah. So to give you an idea of the kind of programs. Oh, and by the way, it's great to see loads of questions coming in. We love questions. We love answering questions. So please do, throw them into the chat. So some example programs, and these are by no means the end of them. We're developing new ones all the time. We're currently offering, or will be offering, a DIP HE in social media content creation. So what this program is it's taught and delivered at partly our MediaCity campus, so it's next to the likes of ITV, BBC, the Hut Group, Trafford Park, where there's lots and lots of businesses centred. But it's also taught partly here at the New Adelphi building, which is in the centre of campus and has musicians, dancers, fashion, and it's delivered as a course which is there to teach you how to create, but also how to market all of that content that you consume and that you create already. So I'm guessing everybody watching pretty much uses social media, and you're allowed. What we do is you say, what is cool? What do you like to see? What do you want to make? And you come with your ideas, and we use our expertise to help you make that, but also how then to use that in a corporate setting. So you'll have modules that teach you about basic marketing skills. You'll have modules about how to talk to clients. You'll have modules to expand your video experience. So you might go beyond your mobile phone. You'll talk about lighting, how to light yourself effectively on screen if you're doing, sort of pieces to camera. But it's all that, it's the content that you consume daily and how to take that one step further, the next steps further to make you employable with those skills. So, for example, we have a student on that course already who, from Wales, she was doing some influencing on Instagram and was relatively successful. And she said, you know what, I really love this. It's earning me some cash at the minute, but it might not last forever. So how can I take this interest I've gained in influencing and bring it to that next stage so that I can understand it more, be better at it, and make a career out of it, but without necessarily committing to a full 3-year degree program? And it's worked out really well for her. I think what's important to remember about this and the perspective we take on it, and this is how I teach my classes, is that you know what media you consume. You know, algorithms and the way we consume media these days is totally different from when it was when I was 15, 16. You will have a YouTube account, you'll have Disney accounts, all those things, and based on what you watch, or even your TikTok accounts and things like that, based on what you watch, it will then, the algorithm, which I'm sure you've heard of, will feed you more of that. So I say in my classes, you bring me what you want to make because you know what you want to make. Because I don't know what you want to make because my YouTube algorithm and my TikTok algorithm, and believe me, I do have one, even though I'm old, pushes different kinds of content to me. So it's not my job to tell you what content to make, but it's my job to allow you the skills to make that the content the best it can be with my experience. The next course, which works quite well actually, feed into this next course, which is called Media and Network Systems, because this is now about the people who work behind those scenes. So I don't suppose, Helen, if you wanted to just pick up on Media and Network, and I can come in as well.
Yeah, so the Media and Network Systems program, as Luke says, we're looking at these kind of shorter programs. This is another one of those 2-year programs. And essentially, it's kind of the technology behind the kind of delivery of the kind of content that Luke was talking about. So it's really addressing a general trend within the broadcast and media industries. And we're seeing more and more technology and IT systems being integrated into the infrastructure. So there's this huge rapid growth in the delivery and consumption of online content using catch-up, so things like BBC iPlayer, ITV Hub, and streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime. So because of this, there's a really growing demand for engineers who have a fluency in the network, internet broadcast, and IP technologies that are needed to kind of deliver these services. So with this program, it's really building on our core strengths in these areas, especially due to our position at MediaCity UK. So it's preparing students with the skills required within a broad range of TV and media companies, essentially. So students coming out of this program will be ideally suited to join core kind of engineering and networking teams focused on the operation. So, the delivery of this content, essentially. So, yeah, it's a huge area. It's a growing area. So lots and lots of kind of scope there. And as I say, because of our links in with MediaCity and everything, we do have a campus there. We're kind of ideally situated to sort of connect with those businesses around us, people like the BBC, ITV, Doc 10, etc. So it's really playing to our strengths there. So that's a program we're really excited about.
Absolutely.
Go on.
I was going to say we have a rich history in the university itself has a really rich history in engineering and media. This is why we have a base at MediaCity, because we have many graduates over the past 30 years, if not longer, who work in the BBC, in ITV. And this is the kind of course that's really good for people who quite like to be involved with computers. So you're looking at computer networking, things like that, but you don't necessarily want to be an IT technician in the traditional sense, because all that computer networking technology is absolutely what drives YouTube. It's what drives streaming services. It's what's driving this webinar right now. So the people behind the scenes who made this platform for this webinar, the internet that you're all connected to, and how we deliver our camera images to each other over the web, it's huge now, and it's growing all the time, especially since the pandemic. And this course is training the people to make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next one we wanted to talk about, and again, there's lots more of these that are coming, but these are kind of ones that we thought we'd talk about today. We have one called Esports Events Management. This is an HND, which is a higher national diploma, which you may have heard of. So again, it's 2 years at university. This is about people who are into gaming and want to play games, but also are really interested in the competitive scene of gaming. So it's not just about how to play esports, although a lot of our students on this course play esports, but it's about the management of that. We think, esports teams are becoming more and more prevalent. In South Korea and internationally, esports is a huge market. They have big events, and it's as popular as some sports in places like South Korea. Manchester United have an esports team. Tottenham Hotspur, their new stadium, or newish stadium, I believe, has a space for their own esports team. The events management behind these esports tournaments is what this program is going to teach you. But it's not just about esports, it's about events management generally. So this is a course that our Salford Business School runs. They are the experts in how to manage business, how to run businesses, marketing, events management, obviously, sports management. And it is very much a growing area, and it's about running those tournaments and organising teams and things like that. And then the last one, sorry, I just saw a question coming, which I will definitely address, but not now. The last one is this new one that's coming on for 25. This is about motion capture technology. So this is basically about being what's called a post-production engineer, except focused around motion capture. Now, if you don't know what motion capture is, you may have seen it. It is when you put ping pong balls on suits and you become a monster or a dragon or something in film. This is the technology that's absolutely at the heart of games production, film production, and this technology is going to this course is going to train you to be an engineer who deals with that technology. It's about turning actors into fantasy creatures, and the skills needed to process data to do that, to engineer that on green screen technology. But this is also becoming part of film generally. So you may have heard of something called virtual production, you may not have, but if you've watched something like Disney's The Mandalorian, which is a Star Wars show, the vast majority of that show is not filmed in a studio in the traditional sense. A lot of it's filmed in front of a virtual background, which is on a screen, and the cameras are motion captured so that a computer knows where the cameras are in space and can adjust the background on the screen behind to compensate. And that's exactly the same technology that's in motion capture. So if you were to do this course, you'd come out with the skills needed by industry. Again, Cloud Imperium Games have said this is a really great course, and are working with us to develop it further. But you'll have the skills for future production that's needed down the line. And we've got many, many more to come as well, and which we'll just sort of briefly say the titles of. Helen, I don't know if you want to talk to those.
Yeah, I've just noticed. I know we're leaving questions till the end. However, I couldn't help but notice Lauren in the chat asking if we offer courses in AI. That's definitely a big part of many of our courses. Two of the courses that will be coming up in 2025 in terms of these DIP-HEs, the shorter courses, one being data science, which obviously has big crossovers with AI, but we do a lot around kind of XR generally in the university, so it's something that you could look at in terms of our general offerings. Another course that we have, one of the DIP-HEs that we have starting in 24 is digital and software technology, and again this is addressing a real skills shortage, and it gives you a broad range of skills suitable for technical roles and developing software solutions, and it really is designed to give you a broad sort of appreciation and understanding of digital technologies, including computing, data science, AI, networking, security, etc. So understanding these kind of agile methods, system design. And what we do with these kinds of programs is we teach in labs that use industry standard equipment. So you're developing kind of practical skills associated with these digital and software technology environments. Other courses that we'll be delivering, I think from 25, include product design and development, which is that's a really exciting one because we've got quite a very successful, well, we've got quite a lot of maker spaces around the university, one in particular, the Mawson Maker Space, which seems to be winning awards left, right and centre, where you're really able to kind of take a product through from design through to production. That's really exciting area of development. Also, an instrumentation and control, which again, this is something where there's real high demand for students, or rather ex-students, because there's lots of opportunities in relation to smart manufacturing, the Internet of Things. So we're really looking at kind of these areas where there's huge demand for graduates, whether they be from 2-year courses or 3-year courses. So yeah, lots in the pipeline. I don't know if there's any others you want to mention at the moment, Luke.
We do a course that's running at the minute called Creative Digital Media. Actually, Lyndon's just literally asked the question I was going to get onto. So I was going to, now we've kind of given you kind of an overview of the courses. I just want to talk a little bit about what we call assessment, which is what you know as your exams or your coursework. The way we're going to be working with these courses is that we're going to be there won't really be any exams in the sense of how you remember, how you know them. A lot of the work and the way you're assessed will be practical, and we're using innovative methods to assess students, and we work with employers again to develop this. So, for example, rather than one of the things we're working on for the new courses, we've not quite got there yet, but we're using this idea of you'll do the tasks in the class, and you'll basically have like a checklist of practical tasks, and you develop those skills, and we tick them off and sign them to say that you've developed this task, this skill, and then over the course of the module, you'll build up a portfolio of those skills, and when you hit a threshold, you basically pass the module. So rather than having to necessarily write it up, you'll be doing it live and in person, and that's what will pass the module. Equally, if it is a university course, so there needs to be some element of writing in there, because in the workplace you do have to write. But rather than necessarily write an essay on a subject, we'll make you write a technical report on that subject. So maybe you're doing social media content creation. You've made some videos which are for a marketing agency. You might then write a technical report on how you made the video, what went right, what went wrong, how you can improve in the future, but also how those videos performed. And it's a different style of writing to the kind of the essays that you might be used to. Another thing we're going to do, though, is that we're going to give you choice, in that you may be given the choice to write a technical report, or maybe present a technical report instead. And that's something that's important, because you will have your ways of best being able to represent what you've done in your work, and employers want that. They certain undergraduate degrees are really good, and these don't replace them, because I've got a degree and a master's degree, and I'm a person who writes, and I like to write, and I will write critical essays, and I'll write thousands of words, because that's how I was taught. But we recognize that not everybody is suited to that. So how can you get a qualification and be assessed in slightly different ways, and give you choice in how you're assessed in that? And that's the kind of the direction we're going down with these. So yes, they are highly practical. There is obviously some elements of academic, because it is a higher degree, a higher education course. And I think another good example there that I can talk about is, and this will lead me quite nicely onto the Greater Manchester Institute of Technology. Let's think about the product design course that Helen just mentioned then, which we're developing. Maybe you're at school or college, maybe you've done some traditional skills, like it used to be called design technology when I was at school. It might be called something else now. Maybe you've used lathes, maybe you've used like block sanders, all those kind of things, which are really, really important skills. And you've done that at A level, and you're really good with all those. And you've done bits of 3D printing. Maybe you want to go, I want to take this to the next level and use high-end machinery to make. And again, this 2-year course would be all about the make. And you'd use you'd use automated lathes. You might use high-end CNC machines. But what you don't want you want to use those machines to a higher education level, but you don't then necessarily want to, at this point in your life, go on and do a 3rd year where you talk about like the mathematics of the engineering behind those projects that you've designed. Maybe that's just a bit too high level for you. So you might come out, you might do your school or college course, come and do a 2-year course, and then go straight into industry where you're making, and the employers have employed you for that. Then maybe in 3 or 4 or 5 years time of being employed, you go, do you know what? I now feel like I'm ready to kind of complete that work. I'm now really interested in the applied side of it and that high level engineering. And you could apply back to the university, or not just us, potentially to any university with your skills and experience, and do what's called a top up onto the third year. So that's the plan, and that's where things are going. And this is not just a Salford thing. You're going to see more and more of this, because we're part of what's called the Greater Manchester Institute of Technology. Now, how's that for a segue, everyone? I've done this before. I work in the arts and media in the performance department. My background is in live sound, believe it or not, but I coordinate this this piece of work for the whole university as well. So I'm an artist and a presenter. So the Greater Manchester Institute of Technology is the University of Salford is the lead education provider in this, and we are in connection and collaboration with other areas around Greater Manchester, which I'll talk to shortly. At the moment, 75% of UK businesses face a major higher technical skills gap. So this is the stats part. Higher technical skills is what we're kind of umbrellaing these 2-year courses as. So there's a current gap between those who are leaving school and getting a job and those going to university and getting a degree. So, and as I've hinted at, there's not much provision in the years in between. So we've got apprenticeships. That's one way, which I know someone asked a question about earlier, which I can definitely answer in the Q&A. We've got degrees, and now we've got this new way, these sort of 1 or 2 year courses, as we just said. And there's a mismatch between skills people have now and those that employers need and is likely to increase. So as we know, as has been mentioned in chat, again, AI is really catching on. Employers are really going to want to be looking for those skills, so we're starting to embed that into everything that we do. And this joined up approach between education and employers, sometimes those messages get lost. So this is why we work directly with employers in conversation when we're designing these courses, so that they know that the people that are coming out of them are what they need. So again, I'm not going to go into great detail about this, because I believe you'll get the slides, and the website for the Institute of Technology is gmiot.ac.uk. They're a national thing as well. They're not just Salford, they're across the region. So if you go to institutesoftechnology.ac.uk, you'll see there's around 20 of them around now, and they work for the region's skills needs. So for example, Birmingham, their Institute of Technology has been going for a number of years. They do a lot of regional based skills, like they've got a lot of interest in silversmithing and things like that, because that's a skill that is really key to that region. It's all about level 4 and 5 technical qualifications. That means first and second year. So an A level is level 3. The third year of a degree is level 6, and first and second year are level 4 and 5. The government have backed these. They are trying to bring back the technical skills into the UK, and we've been in existence for nearly a year now as the Greater Manchester Institute. That's the same stats that I gave before. Our industry partners, we have many industry partners, but these are our primary 4. We've got GCHQ, who are the National Intelligence Agency, Lang O'Rourke, who are a major construction firm in the region, Siemens, you'll have heard of Siemens, their equipment is everywhere in engineering, and TalkTalk, who are a national telecoms, TV and internet provider. They work with us on our courses. They have signed up to say, these are a great initiative, we are happy to be on board, and we will offer workshops, we will offer placements, we will offer all sorts of support and course development, plus others as well. For example, as I mentioned earlier, we're in the early stages of discussions with Cloud Imperium Games, who are a massive games company. We are Media and Network Systems, for example. We're talking to Doc 10, who are a big TV studio based at MediaCity. Plenty of links with industry. And that's basically the end of our presentation. I'm sure I've seen there's lots of questions. I'm also happy to see people are really enthusiastic about it. So yeah, Heather, I don't know if that's back to you.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for that. It was so interesting, and I think there's been obviously so many questions. I can't wait to get into them. Luke, I will just ask, can you turn your camera off and on again? Because for me, you've gone into like a spinny wheel, and sometimes
that's interesting, because for everybody else, they are spinny wheels.
Oh wow,
that's so strange. I don't know what everybody else.
That's why I occasionally stumbled, because I was like, "Why is okay?" 1 second.
We can hear you absolutely perfectly, though, so don't worry about that.
Is that better?
Yes. Oh yes, you're back. Ben, you're the same. You're a spinny wheel as well. Can you go on and off?
That's interesting, isn't it?
Even.
So if you do media and network systems, you'll learn how to fix this problem.
Just going to say.
Right then, okay, we've had loads of questions, so I think the best way for me to do it is just kind of start from the beginning. There's some that have been answered during conversation, so that's, you know, a massive tick. But Heather said, do you do degree apprenticeships?
We do. As far as I'm aware, our current offerings are all based around healthcare professions and construction. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We do. We do work with more small, medium enterprises. So I know our degree apprenticeship team is more business facing rather than traditional recruitment, as the majority of the companies we work with are looking at upskilling current workers rather than employing people. If they do look to employ apprentices, it's usually in single digits. So we do have a wide range of apprenticeship opportunities, but most of them already, again, we have the partners. The other opportunity, if you are looking for a degree apprenticeship, is if you are working for a company, as long as it's not a sole trader. All companies are eligible to look at degree apprenticeship routes. So if you work for someone at the minute who's linked to the industry, you can go and talk to your line manager, talk to the HR officers, and ask about degree apprenticeship opportunities in there. If your company doesn't have one at the minute, or the people you work for doesn't have anything set up, get in touch with our team. There's a range of opportunities that we have.
Wonderful, thank you. We've spoken an awful lot about how there's such a thread of employability and work readiness that comes through all of the courses that you do. But there was a question around statistics around that, and I don't know whether we've got access to that now. It's something that we can provide in the follow-up to this. But Lauren did say, do you have any stats on graduate outcomes around employment?
We do indeed.
Yes.
So been sent something over. I know we've got Alex in the chat. So we've got the last stats that we have were from the 2020-2021 graduating class. At the University of Salford, we've got 93% in any work or further study, of which 74% are in highly skilled work and further study. The one that we have for digital media, this is a subject area we've touched on today, 88% of our graduates are in high skilled work or further study.
Those are some impressive stats. Thank you. And you knew them like that as well. Also impressive. Right then. So Heather's just come back about the degree apprenticeship piece. And I'm just wondering, is there somewhere that we could point them in the direction of to find some further information on all of this? Is there something we could put in the chat?
I'll get our degree apprenticeship information up and in the chat.
Brilliant. Great stuff. Right then. So the $1 million question here. Aisha says, I'm finding it difficult to choose which course to choose. Do you have any tips?
I know where I'd start. If that's what,
yeah.
For me, obviously, I work for the University of Salford. For me, I think if you're going to spend time at a university, you want to make sure that it's time that you want to engage with. You know, I think one, follow your heart. I think visit as many institutions that you're interested as you can, because often, you know, I remember when I was going to university, I went to a couple of places, and one of the places I thought was really going to be the one, and when I got there, I just wasn't as happy with it as I thought, and I couldn't quite work out why. I still haven't quite worked out. It just didn't feel right, and I think our own senses can tell us a lot about whether somewhere's right for you. So, you know, in terms of what we offer and what I see, we have a very, very dedicated staff. We've got a very close-knit community for both people who live on campus and people who commute in. Our support for students is just excellent. You know, it's not just about the people who teach you. In fact, even as a teacher, I would say we're one very small part of that big machine. Our support areas are incredible. The library is one of the best departments in the university because it's not just about books, it's about information, it's about borrowing laptops, it's about study support. You know, the leisure centre is brilliant, and it's about getting. Was it Aisha, sorry, who asked that question?
Yeah.
I would advise getting to know an institution beyond just the classes and the subject, and picking a subject that you know that you're going to be enthusiastic for the time you're at university for, and that you know you're going to get all the right support, and also have really good fun while you're studying. You know, I think and you'll know when you hit the right place for that.
It's interesting that you mentioned.
Just to add,
sorry, go on, Ben.
No, sorry, just to add to what was said before, obviously the way that college works is you're normally studying to one of 4 exam boards, AQA, Excel, elements like that. So quite a lot of the courses at whichever college you go to in your area will be quite similar. It's quite different when it goes to university. Modules are very different on each of the programs. So if you see something called film production or digital media, for example, what we teach at Salford might be quite different from what's available everywhere. So don't just go on the name of a course, have a look at the module structure as well. Also, the best piece of advice, because I went to university a depressingly long time ago, and certain courses were looked at a little differently. There was elements like people saying soft degrees was thrown around in my time. There's no such thing. Every degree has a huge amount of transferable skills. For example, I was an archaeologist, but I've got a lot of skills that can help me in the current role that I have. So follow your heart. There's no bad degrees, and there's a huge amount of choice everywhere, from Viking studies to brewing and distilling to surf management. There's 50,000 different courses available in the UK. Salford, we've got over 250. It's about finding where right for you. So I absolutely agree with going to campuses. Everyone's got a different vibe, and it's ensuring that your needs are going to be met. Also look at societies, also look at accommodation, also look at careers support. I know we had a question on that as well. At Salford, we offer lifetime career support. So anytime you want to, you can come back to us and access the facilities we have with our careers team. It's making sure that the university fits you. It's a big decision, so make sure you do your research.
Very wise words there. And you've both mentioned going onto campus and getting a feel for it and knowing whether it fits with you or not. And that's something that's been said and spoken about an awful lot from students themselves this week, actually. So, and I can see here that we're on the actual slide, which says when the open days are going to be. And guys, I'm assuming that QR code will take the students through to how to go and kind of register and so on. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We also have travel bursaries available for our open days this season. So if you are travelling from further afield, you can claim some of your travel back. We understand it's a difficult time moment through the roof, so we want to make sure we do everything we can to get you to campus.
Brilliant.
Just to add on to that, sorry, the support we've given students through the cost of living crisis, because we are hugely aware of it, we are giving the students a lot of support. Another thing we do other than open days is when you've applied, and if you've been and we've given you an offer to be on the course, we do what's called an offer holder day. So that's when you come in back to campus and you experience what a class is going to be like. And I've run many of those in the past. So the course I tend to teach on is technical theatre. So that's light, sound, musical theatre, the technical part of that. So we do offer holder days there where we give you an experience of what it's like to be in a class at university.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, thank you. And then when you were talking, you mentioned societies and clubs, and there was a question around that within the chat, which was asking basically, do you have societies and clubs at Salford? Can you just give us a little bit more insight into what that would look like?
Yeah, of course. We've got over 80 different societies here at the university. Some are sport-based, some are production areas-based. I know Shock Radio, for example, our on-site radio station, just won a number of awards at I think it was the Northwest Student Radio Awards. So it is a excellent facility. And the good thing is you don't have to be on that subject area to be able to get involved with societies. It's a great way of adding something to your degree. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Luke. So have a look through. The best thing about a university society is it gives a load of other transferable skills, and it's a great way of meeting people. It's a great way of settling in at university. I've always said, I've been doing this job over 16 years now, is the more you put into university, the more you get back. And there's so many opportunities that you're never going to have the time or the opportunity to do again. So if you've ever fancied, say, taking up snowboarding, if you've ever fancied trying a sport for the first time, if you've ever wanted to get involved with debating, with law, if you're trying to find out a little bit, breakdancing, excellent. Yeah, I was an assassin at Durham. Very strange society, but an extremely fun one. So again,
there's no transferable skills there, Ben. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, that was a little bit more difficult to quantify, but the socials were excellent.
Right.
No, on a more serious note, I spent quite a lot of time doing theatre and production as my society, and my first job was in the theatre exactly because of the experience that I got. So don't look at societies as just a way of meeting people and something to do on the side. You can absolutely find a career that's correct for you based on the societies you have as well.
Thank you. That's very interesting to know. Abdul has asked, I'm an international student, how do I apply?
I can take that one if you'd like.
Yeah.
Basically, okay, Abdul, all depends on the subject you're interested in and when you're hoping to apply for the university for. Obviously, post-Brexit, if you were a EU citizen, you are now classed as an international student, unfortunately. It does mean that you do have to go through the visa application. There is a deposit that you'll need to make, and you'll need to be able to have proof of funds. We have a dedicated international team who will be more than happy to talk you through the programme. Also, if you have international qualifications, we have access to what's called the NARIC database, and we can put any international qualification in, and we'll be able to translate it to English qualifications. So we will help you every step of the way. But you may need to make decisions a little earlier, just because the way that visa applications and getting your CAS in hand, it may take a little longer. So it's really worth doing your research now if you are a year 13 student or you're hoping to come to university in 2024, just to ensure that you meet all of the deadlines. And every university will have slightly different ones, but they will be a little bit longer than home nation resident students, just because we have to get more documentation in place.
Good to know. Thank you. There was a whole class that has signed in, Miss Parkinson's class, that asked a couple of questions, and I think it'd be really good if we kind of answered those for the classroom now. We are mindful of time as well. We've got about 9 minutes and 10 questions, so that's just a gauge. Right then, so does the university offer study abroad or exchange programs? And if so, what are the options available?
Yes, we do.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not, Ben, do you know details on this? Because I know we do it.
It's a little different again post-Brexit. We used to be a part of the Erasmus scheme, which was a Europe-wide exchange program, which meant free movement of students and was a fantastic opportunity. We're now part of the Turing scheme, which is the government replacement post-Brexit. It's a little different. It's because we have certain courses, things like biochemistry, environmental geography, that have dedicated years at things like the University of Toledo in Ohio, which is a dedicated research facility and an excellent opportunity. But we do have international placements available for a number of our different programs. Again, it's something that we'd recommend you check on our course finder pages. We'll be able to let you know what the opportunities are. And if you come for an open day, if you come for an applicant visit day, or sorry, a holder day they are called now, it's your chance to sort of ask these questions. It's a really good opportunity to find out what's available for each subject area. It's not a uniform thing. It's not available for every subject. Obviously, if you're a pre-registration student with the NHS, international placement may not be as easily available just because you need to hit certain qualification marks. But it's something that's definitely worth exploring for the subjects you're interested in.
Great. Thank you. Another question from the class was, is there a career counselling or placement service to assist students in finding internships or jobs post-graduation?
Absolutely. As I mentioned before, at Salford, you get lifetime career support, and we have a range of masterclasses, of seminars, of careers fairs that we run for our students from the moment you get here. So you don't have to wait your final year. You don't have to wait till the summer before your final year even to start thinking about your career. If you know where you want to go, the careers team can help you get there. We give support in elements looking at postgraduate study, at graduate placements, at jobs while you're on campus. It's all about ensuring that, again, you're an adult when you come to university. All of these facilities are available to you, but you've got to be able to take advantage of them. So find out what your university can offer. Talk to your careers team a lot earlier than you'll think you'll need to. For example, most graduate schemes, by the time the start of your third year comes, they're already in recruitment. So if you want one of those graduate jobs that are going to give you the career progression and decent salary, you'll need to start applying early. And again, we can absolutely help you out with that. I'll pass back to the academics if that's okay when it comes to like industry links and placements, because they'll be able to talk a lot more detail than I can.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right about how it's kind of quite discipline specific in some ways, and it's very much rather than it being a sort of service provided to everybody, with some degree programs in particular, the whole year with industry is very much a part of the program. So for instance, acoustics, one of the programs I run, I teach on, pretty much everybody does a year in industry, and quite a few of those students will always go abroad because we have strong links with like Philips in Eindhoven, etc., etc. So there are lots of courses where we have historical links with employers abroad and tend to send 1 or 2 students overseas, every year if, the students that want to go. But equally, we're always open to, and I do a lot of work with our students as well, encouraging them to do speculative placement. So thinking about, well, where do I really, really want to work? Where do I really, really want to experience the workplace? And doing quite a lot of work with our students to sort of develop their skills in that kind of speculative application. And we're getting more and more success through that route as well, and therefore building links with employers. So it's an area that it's not consistent across all courses. However, in different courses, there is quite a lot of work that goes into the placement. So it's definitely, I'd echo what Ben said, go along to open days, ask these questions of the staff and the particular courses that you're applying to, because it's often quite different across the institution. As I say, the area I'm in, we do a lot of work. It's embedded into the degree programme for everyone to, go on a placement after year 2 and start applying for, graduate jobs in year 3. Often we find that our students that do a placement year between years 2 and 3 often end up getting offered a job for when they finished, the degree anyway. So, we have very strong links with industry in that area, but it's very course specific.
Right, I'm going to move on to the next question, which was leaping completely back to like healthcare now. So this is a question around, I'm interested in the NHS. Can I apply for NHS learning support?
Absolutely, it all depends on the subject you're doing. As long as it's usually a pre-registration program, you'll be able to access at least the minimum grant, which is £5,000 per academic year. If you're doing a specialist subject, with us, it's things like prosthetics and orthotics, mental health nursing are 2 that instantly spring to mind. You may be able to access an additional funding for a skill gap or rare course. If you are a parent as well, you get the parental grant, which can be an additional amount on top as well. The good thing about the Learning Support Fund is they are all grants. You don't have to repay them back, but you do have to apply separately. We've got a full list on our website as well, which I'll try and pull up for you in a second, which details a little bit more information about eligible programs. But yeah, if you're thinking of working or studying on an NHS linked program, obviously trying to hold a part-time job down when you're on placement is a little more difficult. So that's why the Learning Support Fund has been reintroduced, and we are very glad to see it back.
Wonderful news, thank you. Which is a wonderful segue, actually, when we spoke about finances just there. Maya asked, what's the cost of living like in Salford?
I've got some stats from you here. If you are looking for any university, a great place to go is Save the Student, just because they've got some individual breakdowns of cost. So what I might do at the moment is make it a little bit more interactive in the chat. If people could actually have a guess and think how much per month you need to spend to be at university, or how much university would cost, I'd be intrigued to see what everyone's sort of guesses are if we have time to do so. And I've just seen the time, and we probably don't. Normally, it all depends on your budget, what you're hoping to get out of university, and breaking it all down individually. On average, outside of rent, in the UK, students spend about £639 on everything. So groceries, takeout, transport, socialising, household bills, mobile phone, and every other conceivable thing you may need to spend. At Salford, it's around 552. As I've always said, doing this job, if you study up north, it is significantly cheaper than the south. But you're still going to need to budget extremely well, whichever university you attend, just because obviously you do get your student loan, and it does look really tempting when you get a lump sum coming into your account. But remember, you've got to get to university. If you're in accommodation, you've got to pay for the accommodation. Are you going on field work? Are you looking to go out at the weekend? All of these need to be taken into consideration. So do your research, figure out what your city or town or area of the country is going to be like, and then ensure that even before you start university, do a budget. And Money Saving Expert, again, is a really great place to go. Have a look at student bank accounts, just because, again, you'll never get a good a bank account as when you're a student. Banks are desperate for you to be with them, so you'll get things like interest-free overdrafts. Again, do not include those in your budget. They are there as a fallback, not as a takeaway option. And see what other freebies you can get. Some give you a rail card, some give cash incentives, some give electronics. There's a load of different things you can get for being a student account. So again, as with anything to do with university, do your research and get the most out of it you can.
Absolutely, that's another thing that's come out of this week as well. It's just like look for things and action it as well, because there's so much available, and
definitely
can pass people by, can't it? But there's actually a lot of help. Very sensitive of time, but I just want to spend a minute just to ask the three of you in like a couple of words. I know it's going to be really hard to summarize it, but how you would describe the environment of the campus at Salford, because I think that would be a really nice way to end the session, just painting that picture.
The word that for me that comes to mind is friendly. I think it's a really friendly university. That's the thing that comes to mind for me straight away.
Thank you.
I'd go for vibrant and multicultural and melting pot. I know that's 4 words, but I'll put a hyphen between melting and pot.
I'd say friendly is a great one. Inclusive is one I definitely work. But I'd say fun. It's a great place to be. There's loads going on. There's space if you want it. There's elements of activity everywhere if you want to find that as well. It's a chance for you to be yourself.
Thank you. And what a lovely note to end on. We have come to time now. And so, Ben, I will hand over to you for a kind of finishing statement before we do leave. But from my perspective, from Career Map, I'd love to thank everybody who's attended today, had asked all your questions, and hopefully you've got some, those answers you were looking for, and hopefully you can feel a little bit more decided on kind of where you want to go and what you want to do. And to the panel here, your knowledge and, you've just been really inspiring. So thank you. I'd like to thank you for putting together such a brilliant session. We are seeing some people saying bye-bye in the chat. So bye-bye, everybody. But before we finally do close off, Ben, is there anything you would finally like to say?
No, I'd say thank you all for listening so intently. It's lovely to see so many of you here. Thank you for the excellent questions. And I'm sure I can speak for my colleagues, but we really hope we see you an open day, an offer holiday, or become a student if it's the right university for you soon. Thank you again, and hopefully see you soon.
Thank you, everybody. Take care and have a good
day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Hello, good afternoon. How are we doing?